In case you didn't remember, take a look.
Fall River Mayor Jaisal Correa says he won't leave office unless he's voted out by the people of Fall River, writing in a letter today, quote, "The answer to this question rests with the people of our city. If it is their will to allow me to continue to serve as mayor, then I shall continue to serve for as long as I am able."
The city of Fall River is in a situation right now where we need stability. The mayor, who is under a 13-count federal indictment, it is, in my opinion, very challenging to serve in his capacity as mayor.
Cliff Ponte is the president of the Fall River City Council, which has called on Correa to resign. After receiving more than 4,500 signatures on recall petitions last week, the council set a deadline of 5 p.m. today for him to do it. He did not resign, so a special meeting to schedule a recall election is set for January 2nd. The council will set a date of either March 12th or March 19th for the election, which will have both the recall question on the ballot and mayoral candidates to replace Correa if recalled. And Correa can run in the special election that day. He has already said he will, despite also intending to defend himself against the 13 criminal fraud charges.
This dark cloud over our community right now is going to continue to be here until the mayor puts the city before himself.
Yeah, this is one of the weirdest stories I've seen in a long time. You know, generally when public officials face something like this, well, I should say generally, you know, going all the way back to Buddy, you know, God rest his soul, he didn't step away, you know, he fought it all the way to the end. The good faith move ought to be, I'll deal with the courts, defend myself, and if I beat it, I'll come back as a public servant. He hasn't done that. Were you an ally prior to this?
Well, you know, an ally, yes, or no. I mean, I didn't.
Ambivalent?
Yeah, I mean, I'm
with
a city
him on the right
councilor.
stuff, not so
yeah,
much?
You know, I'm a city councilor. I was elected by the people. The city of Fall River's city council's role is to be a checks and balances for the administration. You know, I was one of the councilors when he was first elected that he wanted to eliminate a $120 trash fee. I was in favor of eliminating that trash fee. Even though I voted against the budget at that time for my own specific reasons, I was in favor of that going through the ordinance, and I was chair of that committee at that time. So, I mean, look, there's things that I've been in favor of, and there's things I have been against. I've been fortunate enough to sit as a city councilor for going on my 3rd year now, and I've loved the opportunity to do so. But look, it's not a matter of when I'm an ally or not. It's a matter of being that checks and balances, which the people of Fall River elect their council to do.
Well, fair answer to a kind of quirky question. The pulse of the city is, I mean, you gave me a little flavor of it in the last segment, but the pulse of the city, is there been a paralysis in terms of getting things done? Are there major initiatives that are suspended because the administration is under this kind of duress?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say business is on hold. I think we have some great department heads in our community and in City Hall. We have great government center employees. We have great teachers, firefighters, police officers in Fall River that go to work every single day and give it their best, regardless of what is happening. I think that momentum has slowed down a little bit. I think momentum in terms of economic development, you know, there's some people who may be applying for some TIFs for increment financing, or there may be some businesses that may or may not want to come to Fall River because of the issues that are before us. Fortunately, it's going to be
any tangible, you don't have to name companies or entities, but are you pointing in your mind to any tangible transactions that have been suspended or went south?
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say that I am aware of any specific transactions that have gone south. I just know that from the business owners that I've spoke to, they're very uneasy right now. It's an uncertain time. It's an uncertain time for not only our businesses, but for other elected officials, for our department heads and other city employees.
You pointed to the reputation of the city. You know, there are a lot of urban, you know, small urban communities that are making comebacks across the country, where Central Falls, for one, you know, Pawtucket in Rhode Island is holding on for dear life. It's either going to be a huge win or they're going to go into the dumper. And of course, the Pawtucket Stadium and Hasbro and Memorial Hospital are all, you know, part of that dynamic. Fall River has been a working town for a real long time. It used to be kind of the butt of jokes, I think, 10, 15, 20 years ago. Not so much anymore. There's a kind of a phase of coolness that comes back to a community. This mayor has something to do with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, make no mistake about it. He's had his ups and his downs, just like any mayor in any city in any town. You know, I'm in the real estate business, so I'm in these communities on a regular basis.
The business is good, right?
Business is good. You know, the real estate market is strong. We're stabilizing. We've stabilized over the last couple of years. There's a demand for inventory in the real estate market. I would say economic development through most municipalities have strengthened because people have a little bit more money in their pockets. More people are working, at least from the Fall Rivers perspective. But you know, you made a comment, and I hear that all the time, you know, from other news outlets that have asked me the questions about Fall River being a laughing stock in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And it has had that reputation for many, many years. I will say this, that since I have been elected to the City Council for the last couple of years, I have not seen a more resilient community than Fall River. I have not seen people who have more pride than going to work every day. I haven't seen firefighters or police officers or teachers or government center employees that are proud to go to work and proud to call Fall River their home. So does Fall River sometimes get that bad reputation in other areas of Massachusetts? Of course it does. But you know, I own a business in the community. I'm a counselor in the city of Fall River. I can attest to what has happened in Fall River, and it's a joint effort. It's a joint effort from the mayor to the city council, to our state delegators, and to our federal delegation.
Listen, the economy's better. The Commonwealth is performing overall in a pretty good way, and Fall River needs to be would be naturally a benefit. You know, would receive benefit from that. But I think, you know, economics define a community, and the economics are better in Fall River.
They are.
And you know, the reputation of the town, I think, is a whole lot much better. And by the way, if you want to make a real estate investment, you know, it's probably a good place to do it right now because it's on the common. It's not that expensive versus the rest of the Commonwealth, right? So the formula is good for the rise.
Yeah. And we've seen a lot of growth on the economic side too. We can talk about South Coast Marketplace, which was a dilapidated Harbor Mall building. It's an outdoor facility now that's continuing to grow thanks to some economic development work of Ken Fioler at that time and other mayors and other councilors. We were able to get a TIF together to see that actually happen. So it's a combination of, look, when government, and you know this more than anybody, when government works together, okay, whether it's at the federal level or the local level, things get done.
How's that casino affecting you across the border?
Well, our south end of the city has definitely seen an increase of traffic. I personally think that we haven't yet seen it long enough to really see if it's had an economic impact on our community, but it's really hard to tell because of their early stages, but I haven't seen much negative effects of the casino being in Tiverton.
All right, when we come back, a couple of minutes on analysis on this recall vote. Stay with us.
So that is why, not arrogantly, not selfishly, but humbly, I will continue to every day show you how hardworking your mayor, the mayor of the city of Fall River, is, and I will not resign.
Some high drama there from the mayor. Interesting recall. Vote yes to recall to make a choice to replace. Vote no, I guess you don't make a choice to replace. It's kind of a wacky election day. Right?
It is.
What are you recommending people do? You're asking this mayor to leave, right? So you'd vote to recall.
Yep, and I'm going to stand by my position that I think the city of Fall River would be in a better place without our mayor under a federal indictment. I've stated that from the day he got arrested to today, and I'll remain that way. In terms of the candidates, I've always encouraged people to do their homework and call the candidates who are running for the office of mayor. It's an absolute honor.
Do you support one?
I've not endorsed any specific mayor or candidate for mayor. Either way, I'll be able to work with anybody who's running for that office. I think my role as council president is very important, that whoever I do decide to, whoever is elected, that we work on a transition, and I'd be happy to help in any way I can, whoever it is. Everybody who's running, I'd be able to work with. And even if the current mayor, for some reason, happens to win this election on March 12th, then I'd be happy to continue to work as a city councilor as I have been the last 3 years with him as our mayor.
There were some rumblings that you might have taken a look at it. Clearly, you've got a vision and a love of the city, and You made a good speech about it just a moment ago. Sounded very mayoral to me, but that's not something you're inclined to do.
Look, I'm in a good place. I run a very successful business. A lot of employees that work for me rely heavily on my production as a real estate broker. I enjoy my role as a city councilor. I really enjoy the work. I enjoy the nitty-gritty. I enjoy looking at numbers and asking questions. Right now I'm in a good place. I enjoy my role. It's an honor to serve as council president as well.
Perhaps your perspective also is that consistency of performance at the council leadership post is actually beneficial to the city, while despite a recall election, whether it reinstitutes the mayor or replaces him, it's still going to be in flux and fluid. Mm-hmm. Is that part of your thinking?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the council's not going anywhere. No councilors are getting recalled. There's nobody who's resigning, as far as I'm concerned, from their role as a city council. So, you know, I have to say this: the city of Fall River is at a point now where they need stability, and I think that the city council, every councilor that is elected to serve this community, has done everything they can within their power under very challenging circumstances to try to bring stability to this community. I've preached for that, and I think once we get past March 12th, we'll be at a point where we're looking closer towards stability as we go forward, especially going into a budget time.
Makes sense to me. What's the projection on voter turnout? You know, sometimes these things are bullet votes, right?
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it all depends how the weather is that day too. I mean, if we have a snowstorm or if it's pouring out. I would look probably with a little bit more anticipation though when it comes to, we had a vote for a debt exclusion for a new high school last year. There was a decent voter turnout, but you know, it's up in the air. I mean, the last time we had a recall in 2014, I believe the year was, it was in December.
It's kind of crazy to say that.
It is.
You guys have had some political turbulence. No doubt, a little bit of a drama. But wish you the best of luck. We'll stay in touch, and
thank you.
We'll see what the moral of the story is in about 6-8 weeks. Right?
You got it. Thank you.
All right, the council president. Final word when we come back. Stay with us. Good luck to those folks in Fall River. We'll keep touch on what's going on with the recall election up until March 12th. Now, tomorrow night, Lieutenant Governor Dan McKee returns to the show. He has been putting out some active information on National Grid. What you may not know is that National Grid has to face some pretty tough regulatory laws in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts that it doesn't have to face here in Rhode Island. And Lieutenant Governor would like to see legislation that matches the kind of thumb that Massachusetts has. We shall vet that tomorrow here on Dan York's State of Mind. See you on the radio at 3 on WPRO tomorrow too. Bye.